are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the final.
Keep yourself in the loop of everything football on the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. The latest news on and off the field, be it college football, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC to the NFL. We've got you covered. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
And welcome everybody to another edition of the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. As always, I'm your host, Kenneth Gruenfelder, and it's great to have everybody here on this Friday, December 8th. We got a lot to talk about on the show today, but before I get into that, I just want to remind you guys to tip or donate and get your comments recognized. Make sure to go to the following link, that is streamelements.com/GSMCsportsnetwork./tip. Again, that really helps the show, makes the show more interactive between myself, the host, and you guys, the viewers. Again, the link is streamelements.com/GSMCsportsnetwork./tip. And as always, it is displayed on the ticker on the bottom of the show segment down below. So, with that being said, let's get right into what we will discuss today. So obviously, it's a football Friday. We'll get into last night's game between the Patriots and the Steelers. We'll get into talking about and giving my pick for the Eagles-Cowboys game. That'll be in the second part of the show. And then in the third and fourth part of the shows, we will get into all the games for Week 14. I'll preview all of them, and I'll give you my picks for those. So let's get right into the first topic, which is talking about the Patriots and the Steelers game. So obviously, last night, nobody really expected this game to really be that good. Not a lot of scoring. There was some scoring in this game. There was. The over ended up hitting. So, yeah, I said, the under will probably hit. I said the final score would be like 16-10, but it ended up being 21-18. The Patriots upsetting the Steelers, snapping their losing streak, and winning 21-18. And I did say there would be turnovers in this game, and there were turnovers in this game. Mitchell Trubisky played quarterback for the Steelers last night. Bailey Zappi, he started for the Patriots. And, the Patriots improved to 3-10 on the season. The Steelers dropped to 7-6. So let's go through the game summary. So the Patriots, the first drive of the game, they went 8 plays, 75 yards, 3 minutes and 48 seconds of time possession down the field. And Bailey Zappi connected with Ezekiel Elliott for an 11-yard touchdown. So that put the Patriots up 7-0. That was set up by a deep pass to Juju Smith-Schuster for 37 yards. So the former Steeler making an impact. The Patriots actually had, I think, only 3 wide receivers active for the game last night. Thornton, Juju Smith-Schuster, and who's the other receiver? Jalen Reagor apparently is a New England Patriot. I did not know that. Ty Montgomery also played last night as well. But he kind of converted into a running back, back when he was with the Packers, and the Saints had him last year. But, yeah, he's a Patriot as well. So then the Steelers on their first drive, they went 7 plays, 31 yards, 4 minutes, 33 seconds of time of possession. And they kicked the field goal to make it 7-3. That was helped by a pass interference call. And Trubisky threw a pick on the play. So, it was like, all right, here we go, Trubisky, another pick. But fortunate that there was a penalty on the play. So then Patriots punted, Steelers punted, Patriots punted again, and then Trubisky threw a pick at the end of the first quarter. And the Patriots turned that into 7 points to put them up 14-3. They went 2 plays, 11 yards. Bailey Zappi connected with Hunter Henry for an 8-yard touchdown. Steelers punted, Patriots punted. Steelers punted again, and then the Patriots went 4 plays, 59 yards, 2 minutes and 10 seconds of time possession. Zappi connected with Hunter Henry again for a 24-yard touchdown to put them up 21-3. Then the Steelers answered with a touchdown, 8 plays, 75 yards. Trubisky connected with Deontay Johnson for a 25-yard touchdown. So they went into the half, and it was 21-10. And the Patriots got shut out in the second half. Zappi threw a pick, and it was almost a pick six, if not for Ezekiel Elliott making the tackle. And the Steelers didn't turn that into points. They turned it over on downs. Then the Patriots punted. Steelers went down the field, 4 plays, 26 yards, a minute and 39 seconds of time of possession. Trubisky scored a rushing touchdown, and then he connected with Pat Freiermuth for the 2-point conversion, so that made it 21-18. And that was it. There was no scoring after that. So, yeah, the Patriots, they improved to 3-10, kind of hurt their draft positioning a little bit with that win. And the Steelers, they hurt their playoff positioning because now they are on the outside looking in of the AFC playoffs. And, yeah, it's not good for the Steelers. I mean, now Kenny Pickett being hurt. Mitchell Trubisky is just not very good. He really did not play well last night. The fans were chanting for Mason Rudolph, which you know it's really bad when you got your team chanting for Mason Rudolph. You know, they were booing on like every possession. Like the offense just did not play well last night for the Steelers. So for the Steelers, Trubisky went 22 of 35, 190 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He was actually their leading rusher with 30 yards and a touchdown, the rushing touchdown. Najee Harris only ran the ball for 29 yards. Jaylen Warren ran the ball for 11 yards. Yeah, they just couldn't get anything going on the ground. Deontay Johnson was their leading receiver, 3 receptions for 57 yards and a touchdown. Jaylen Warren had 4 for 29. Allen Robinson, 1 for 21. George Pickens, only 5 receptions for 19 yards. Pat Freiermuth had 3 for 18. But yeah, Steelers' offense just wasn't very good last night. And then as for the Patriots, I mean, Bailey Zappi, I mean, they had a good first half. 19-28, 240 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Ezekiel Elliott had a decent game, 22 carries for 68 yards. Also had the 11-yard touchdown reception. He also had 72 yards receiving for the game. Juju Smith-Schuster had a good game, 4 receptions for 90 yards. Hunter Henry had 3 for 40 and 2 touchdowns. But yeah, I mean, you change the players, doesn't matter. Patriots still own the Steelers. And, yeah, there's a lot of criticism to go around with the Steelers. You know, we've seen in the past how this team plays down to their competition. And this is a team that the Steelers should have beaten last night. The Steelers are better than the Patriots. But it doesn't matter. You know, Belichick owns Tomlin. It really doesn't matter. You change the players, it really does not matter. The Patriots are having one of their worst seasons ever. And they still own the Steelers, and they still own the Jets, too. You know, and they somehow beat the Bills this year. So, you know, there's a lot of, you know, question marks with the Steelers going forward. You know, Mike Tomlin, he's being, you know, I wouldn't say put on the hot seat, but there's some criticism to go to him, too, because now they've lost to back-to-back 2-10 teams. You know, which is and at home too. So, yeah, it's not looking good for the Steelers right now. You know, and people are saying in the beginning of the year, like, how are they doing this? And you know, they beat teams on the road that you didn't expect them to beat. You know, like they beat the Rams. I mean, the Rams aren't, you know, what the team they were a couple of years ago, but still, like, they beat them. They beat the Ravens at home. Ravens played a sloppy game, but yeah, they beat them. There's just games on their schedule where it's like, how did they win? But you know, it's now starting to catch up to them. And yeah, I mean, they got question marks at quarterback. They got, you know, the head coach. It doesn't seem like this team is prepared. You know, the last 2 weeks. You know, they let Bailey Zappi carve them up in the first half. I mean, they shut the Patriots out in the second half, but. You know, the offense just really could not. I mean, once it was 14-3, like you knew, like the Steelers are not coming back. It's just not happening. You know, and I felt very confident. See, like the under, I thought it would hit because I really just did not expect the Patriots to do much either, especially because they didn't have a lot of, you know, receivers active for the game. And Ezekiel Elliott ended up having a good game too. But Bailey Zappi carved them up in the first half, and you know, I felt confident that the Patriots were going to cover the number because it's the Steelers. The Patriots play well against the Steelers, and that happened again. You know, and now the Steelers find themselves on the outside looking in, and they probably are going to miss the playoffs because you look at the Texans, even the Bills. I know they beat them, but if Jake Browning, like I keep saying, continues to play like he did on Monday, I mean the Bengals, and they play the Steelers again in a couple of weeks. I mean the Steelers, their schedule is not easy. They're at Indianapolis, who right now is in a playoff spot. You're home against the Bengals. You're at Seattle, and then you're at Baltimore to close out the season. Those are all tough games. You could find yourself finishing 7-10. They could lose every single game there. Now they got Mike Tomlin, so he hasn't finished with the losing season. So you would think that they're going to find a way to win. At least one or two more of these games. I mean, if you only win one, then you finish 8-9. So then you do finish with a losing record. But yeah, it's not looking good right now for the Steelers. Because right now you got the Broncos, the Bengals, the Bills. They're all, a half game behind you. They haven't played yet. So if they win, I mean, they're going to pass you too. So we'll see what happens. But, not looking good right now for the Steelers. And the Patriots, I mean, they got the win. But, I mean, they're still going to probably finish with like a top 3 pick. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know how Patriots fans. I mean, Patriot fans are probably mad because it's like they want to get one of these top QBs, but I mean, it's good for the players because at least they finally got a win because it's been a rough stretch for the Patriots. But their wins are against teams that they've owned for years. So I'm, it is what it is with the Patriots right now. But the under did not hit. The over hit. I mean, when it was 14-3, I'm like, oh, this is not good. I mean, and especially when the Patriots went right down the field to open the game, I was like, well, that's an issue. But it's worse for the Steelers because it's like you're the better team and you still can't. Even when the Patriots have the record that they have, you still can't beat them. And I mean, they were cheering for Mason Rudolph to get into the game, chanting for Mason Rudolph to get into the game. I mean, that's when you know it's bad. Mitchell Trubisky, since he's been there, I mean, he got benched for Kenny Pickett last year, and they kept him around to be the backup. But I think it's because he was on a 2-year contract, I believe. That's why he's still on the team. But yeah. This is probably it for Trubisky because, I mean, maybe someone picks him up as a backup quarterback, but, I mean, he's pretty bad. And you see why the Bears moved off of him. I mean, now they go to Fields, who is better, but still not great. We'll see what happens, these last, few games of the season. But, we see why the Bears finally moved up for Trubisky. That was the game that kicked us off for Week 14. So obviously, when we come back from the show, we'll continue. Well, we'll begin to preview Week 14, at least for the weekend games. Obviously, the big game, one of the biggest games. Well, probably the biggest game this weekend. Is the Eagles and the Cowboys. Now, obviously, I talked about this game a little bit yesterday and the importance of the game, but now we're going to get into the specifics of the game and, how I see this game playing out. So that'll be what we discuss when we come back from our first break. So stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the second part of the show, we are going to now preview the Sunday night matchup between the Eagles and the Cowboys. So, obviously, yesterday I talked about the importance of the game. If the Cowboys win this game, the Eagles and the Cowboys are both tied, for the NFC East lead. These two teams did meet, back in, what week was it? It was week 9. The Eagles winning that game 28-23. Dak Prescott had a very good game, 29-44, 374 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Jalen Hurts went 17-23, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. So with this game, it's even more important because the Cowboys, they left some points on the board. I talked about that. And it's I think it's going to be a high scoring game because right now the Cowboys are 3.5 point favorites in the game. They've played very well at home this year. They're 6-0 at home, 3-3 on the road. They've won 4 in a row. The Eagles obviously coming off of that blowout loss to the 49ers. So, if the Eagles are coming off of a win, obviously I would probably lean more towards the Cowboys in the game. In terms of like the spread, I think the Cowboys are going to win this game. I think the Eagles. I think it's going to be a 3-point game, but I kind of like the Cowboys to win outright, just because they're at home. The over/under is 51.5. I wouldn't be surprised if that hits. I mean, that was the final score total last time they played was 51. Right, 28 plus 23, right? See, I can still do math. I think the Cowboys, they've been waiting for this game since they last played them. I think they feel like they could definitely win this game, and I think they will. I think they are going to win this game. I think the Eagles will keep it close, though. We look at the stats between the two teams. So the Cowboys are 3rd in passing yards per game. Eagles are 13th. Rushing yards per game. Eagles are 8th. Cowboys are 11th. Points per game. Cowboys are 1st. Eagles are 4th. Then on the defensive side of the ball, against the pass, the Eagles' defense is 31st in the league, and the Cowboys' defense is 4th. Rushing yards, the Eagles are 4th against the run. Cowboys are 12th. And then points allowed, Cowboys are 4th. Eagles are 24th. So, yeah, I mean, the Cowboys got the edge on the defensive side. But, yeah, I think the Cowboys win. But it's gonna be another close game. It's gonna be back and forth. I know that I brought this up yesterday, but there was talk on TV about the Eagles benching Jalen Hurts and starting Marcus Mariota, and it's like, really? That's what it's come to. That's not going to happen. Now, unless Jalen Hurts is really hurt, he's playing. And these two teams, the last time they played in Dallas was last year on Christmas Eve, and Gardner Minshew put up a lot of points against them, against that Dallas defense. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I mean, listen, the Eagles, they got a great offensive line. They're going to be able to protect Jalen Hurts. Dak's going to get the ball out when he has to. Like I said, the Eagles, secondary is not as good as it was last year. So especially with this passing game, and we're seeing Ferguson getting it going at the tight end spot, and Brandon Cooks, of course. And they're getting the ball to CeeDee Lamb. I talked about that yesterday. And they're running the ball a little bit better. Dak Prescott's playing at an MVP level. Cowboys are going to put up points in this game. So, the Eagles, I mean, let's see what they do. They got to, get their minds right, because obviously getting blown out at home by the team you beat in the NFC Championship game, yeah, it's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling. So we'll see how they, respond from that. Again, it's hard to say that they're going to lose, 2 games in a row. But, the Cowboys are unbeaten at home. So they they're gonna have to really bring it. And listen, the Cowboys, their other wins have come against teams that aren't very good. The Giants, the Jets, the Commanders. I mean, the Rams right now are fighting for a playoff spot, but the Cowboys are a much better team than the Rams, I think. They've beaten a lot of bad teams. The Patriots, they've beaten. Yeah, a lot of the teams that they've beaten at home aren't very good. They did beat Seattle. Seattle put up 35 points against them, and that's something that should worry you as a Cowboys fan, is the way the defense played last week. Because if this team has Super Bowl aspirations, your defense cannot be giving up 35 points. They did that against San Francisco too. So, and it's all about matchups. Like the Cowboys, they match up well against the Eagles, but they don't match up well against the 49ers. Now, if they play each other in the playoffs again, maybe it's different, but they could definitely beat the Eagles in this spot. I think it's going to be high scoring. I think it'll be maybe, let's see here. Maybe it's, 34-31 final score it is. I think I'll go with that. Again, I'm kind of also doing it just so the Eagles, for the spread pool, they cover the 3.5. Because I'm trying to, win the spread pool this week. And I don't know, you're giving the Eagles 3 points. I mean, I'll take it. I mean, people took them as a home underdog. I didn't. I took the Niners, even though I didn't feel great about it. And the Niners, they did more than just cover the number. But divisional game, Eagles coming off of a loss. I think that they at least keep it close. But I think Dallas wins the game. But it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game for both teams. This should be a shootout. So, but I just the criticism of Jalen Hurts too, and just some of the takes. Like I said, I don't think it really makes a lot of sense right now. I mean, listen, the Eagles were down against some teams and they were able to come back, and he's one of the reasons for that. And if he's not playing quarterback for the Eagles, they don't have nearly as good of a record as they do. But you got to deal with Dak Prescott now, who's playing, the best football of his career, arguably. And they almost lost the last time they played him. So, this is big. I mean, this is for the division too. I mean, you got that, and like I said yesterday, the number one seed. The 49ers could take that. Because they have the tiebreaker over both of these teams. So, they're going to have to, this is a really important game for the Eagles. It's an important game for both teams. And, it's going to be nice to, watch it, because I anticipate that's going to be a good game. Obviously, it's of two teams that are in, the Giants division, and I don't like either of them, but, we got other implications with that, of course, fantasy and the spread pool. So, of course, I'm going to be locked. And it's football, so I'm going to be locked in regardless. But I'm hoping one day that the Giants, maybe get back to, being a contender and they can match up against these teams. Because right now, I mean, the gap is it's the Eagles and the Cowboys, and then it's just, the Giants and the Commanders are somewhere below them, way below. But, and the Commanders were competitive in both games against the Eagles. But against the Cowboys, they got blown out. But, yeah, right now it's just the Eagles and the Cowboys division. It's been like that for a long time, and I don't know when that's going to change. I really don't. So, but we'll see how it goes. Let me know what you guys think. How is this game going to play out? Like I said, I think it's going to be back and forth. the way the Eagles defense has been struggling, the Cowboys defense, how they played last week. The Eagles are going to want to, get things right this week. And we'll see. But right now I'm kind of leaning towards Dallas, taking them, but only winning by a field goal. But we'll see. I mean, that's just me. My predictions haven't been great this year. I did have that 1 week where I had 12 wins, which was awesome. Even straight up last week, I didn't really do that good. So let's see if this week, is better. Got off to a good start by, picking the Patriots to cover. Maybe the Eagles, they cover. If they don't win, if they win outright, they win outright. But, at least, cover the number. But I feel like a lot of people are going to be all over Dallas just because they're at home. The Eagles got blown out. No one's really going to – actually, I shouldn't say no one, but there's going to be a lot of people that aren't going to, give the Eagles a shot in this game. But we'll see. It's going to – it's one of the best games of the weekend, if not the best game of the weekend. Because there's another game that I think about that could be very good as well. In the late window slot. So we'll get into that. That's in the final part of the show. That game between, the Bills and the Chiefs is always a lot of fun. That's, what I'm talking about. That game, even though it doesn't have, like, the same, weight as it had in years past. Like, you don't have these two teams fighting for the top spot in the AFC. It's kind of, the Chiefs are struggling and the Bills are on the outside looking in right now. So... But, again, whenever it's Mahomes and Allen, it's, it's always, well, not always, but it is a good game. At least the last couple of times they played each other was a good game. That and the divisional matchup 2 years ago was, probably the best playoff game I've ever seen. So that's the game I was talking about. That's the other good game of the weekend. Just because it's Mahomes and Allen. It's a... it should be a lot of fun. It's unfortunate we're not going to see Burrow versus Mahomes on New Year's Eve, but at least we get this, and, maybe we'll see that matchup in the playoffs if the Bills can, make a run here. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it when talking about this topic here. So when we come back from our second break of the show, we'll preview the early window games for Sunday. But before I get into that, I just want to remind you guys to tip or donate and get your comments recognized. Make sure to go to the following link. That is streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. Again, that really helps the show and makes the show more interactive between myself, the host, and you guys, the viewers. Again, that is streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. And as always, it is displayed on the ticker on the bottom of the show segment down below. So, when we get... I clicked on the wrong screen. So with that, when we come back from our second break, we'll get into the previews of the early window games for Sunday. So stick around, and my picks. So stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the third part of the show, we are now going to get into previewing the early window games for Sunday. I'll give you my thoughts on them and my picks. So let's get right into it. So, starting off with an NFC South matchup between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons. The last time these two teams played each other, that was back in Week 7. The Falcons won that game 16-13. Younghoe Koo kicked a walk-off field goal. The Falcons currently are the leaders in the NFC South at 6-6. Bucs are 5-7. They picked up a win last week against the Panthers. The Falcons, they picked up a win against the Jets. They've won now 2 in a row, I believe. Yes, 2 in a row, coming out of their bye week. Yeah, I mean, listen, I pick the Buccaneers every week, it seems, and hasn't really panned out. The offense hasn't looked great recently. The Falcons are at home. The line did open up at 2.5, but then it went down to 1.5. So this game is kind of a toss-up. I pick against the Falcons a lot, and then when the times I do pick them, then they don't win. You know what? I'm gonna take this. All right, so subject to change, but I am going to. I'm gonna take the Bucs. I'm gonna take the Bucs. I mean, this is a really important game. They have to win this game if they want to, have any shot at winning the division. I mean, again, they're only one game back. Most likely, a team is going to finish with a losing record to, win this division, which is just really bad to say. And it happened last year because the Bucs finished 8-9. I don't know. I don't like Desmond Ritter's not good, but it's just the team around him is good. That they're better. They're better than the Bucs on paper. I don't know. This game is going to be tough. But you know what? I'm going to take the Bucs, and I'm just going to hope that they cover. Although I will say though, I'm looking at the injury report. Devin White did not practice. He's doubtful. And then Vita Vea did not practice on Thursday. So, yeah, might have to change that. But I don't want to, I can't see I can see it, but I don't know. But, yeah, I guess we'll go with for now we're going to go with the Bucs, but probably going to change it. Keep an eye on the injury report. Because those are key guys on defense for the Bucs. So, then we get into the Rams and the Ravens. So, Lamar Jackson, he did not practice yesterday. I don't know what the story is with that. Oh, so he had an illness, so that's why he didn't practice. So I'm looking on CBS. The weather is supposedly not going to be nice. The Rams are getting 7.5 points, which is a lot of points. I took the Ravens. I just feel, the Rams are 6-6. They're fighting for a playoff spot, and they could get it, but I don't know. The Ravens are the much better team. They got a better defense. The Rams struggled with Joe Flacco last week. Now they're going up against a better team, and a better quarterback, and a better defense. So I think I'm going to take the Ravens here, cover the number. I feel confident in that. I think the Rams offense is going to struggle a lot on Sunday. So we'll see. Then we move on to the Bears and the Lions. So these two teams met in Week 11. Lions had to come back and win that game 31-26. They're favored by 3 in this game. The weather's not going to be nice there. And we know how Jared Goff performs in cold weather. But I don't know. I feel like the Lions, I think they're still going to play well, run the football, well in this weather. I think they win and cover the number here. The Bears, listen, they won before their bye week against the Vikings. That was an ugly game. And listen, they, played well against the Lions. But I think the Lions win by more than 3 here. So I'm going to take them. Then we got the Bengals and the Colts. Again, the weather doesn't look nice for the game. Bengals are favored by 2. Over-under is 44. Colts coming off of that big win in overtime against the Titans. Bengals coming off of that upset victory against Jacksonville, in Jacksonville. You know what? I like the Bengals to win and cover here. I liked what I saw from Jake Browning last week. And they got their full array of weapons back with T. Higgins. Jamar Chase had a big game. Joe Mixon had a couple of rushing touchdowns. Tyler Boyd, made some plays. Obviously I don't want to include the bad one where they did that trick play and he threw the pick to Josh Allen, which set up a Jacksonville touchdown. So I like the Bengals in this spot at home. I think the Colts are due for a loss. So I'm going to take the Bengals at home here. And that would get the Bengals to 7-6, and they're still kind of hanging around, with Joe Burrow being out. So we'll see what happens. Then we got the Browns and the Jags. So Trevor Lawrence is still questionable. We don't know if he's definitely going to play or not. I think if he doesn't play, right now the Browns are favored by 3. So if he doesn't play, I'm probably still going to pick the Browns anyways. I think they are. I think they're due for a win. After losing their last 2 games, now they're at home. Again, another game that doesn't have nice weather. But yeah, they're at home, and we'll see who starts. We'll keep an eye on that. But I think I'm going to take the Browns here to win, get themselves back on track, and Jacksonville will drop another game, which is going to be tough because, the Colts and the Texans are right behind them. Then this game, I have no idea who to pick. I really don't. Panthers and the Saints. Saints are favored by 5. We'll see if Derek Carr plays. He was in concussion protocol, obviously. He's got a rib injury. He's been banged up this year. I'm going to take the Saints. I think the Saints will win. Right now, I got the Panthers to cover the spread just because I just don't trust the Saints at all. We'll see. We'll see what happens, who plays a quarterback. The Saints' offense has just been very inconsistent, very messy this year. So I think I'm going to roll with the Panthers to at least cover. The Panthers can't score points, but I just don't trust the Saints in this spot. But I could be wrong. So we'll see. Then we got the Texans and the Jets. So this line did open up at 6.5. And now it went down to 3.5. Zach Wilson is going to be starting. Again, another game that's not going to have nice weather. It's interesting because right now I do have the Texans, but why is it that number dropped down to 3 points, to 3.5 points? So I have the Texans right now. I said I wasn't going to take the Jets anymore, but I don't know. That was very fishy to me that the line went down that much. So subject to change, but the Texans, I'm going to say they win and they cover right now. I think they'll cover the 3.5. 6.5 though, because in the spread pool, my spread pool, it doesn't change. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to the early window games. It's not a great slate this weekend. The 2 best games. Actually the late window games are all good, I think. And I got some divisional matchups in there. But yeah, the early slate of games is not very good. Not very good. But the primetime games, they're gonna be good. Like the 4:25 p.m. Eastern time. Chiefs and the Bills. That's gonna be good. And obviously the Sunday night matchup is gonna be good between the Cowboys and the Eagles. You would hope. But yeah, the early slate, not a lot of enticing matchups to get excited for. But I'm just hoping for a good week in the spread pool. I'm really just banking on having to bounce back, getting myself further up in the standings, because right now I'm 11 behind the leader in mine. So, and the other one that I do, it's I think I'm down like 17, and mine at least extends into the postseason. That one does not. So I really got to make up ground here, in these last 5 weeks. So running out of time. But yeah, we'll see what happens here. I mean, there's some implications with these games. I mean, the Panthers, well, not the Panthers, the Bengals and the Colts. I mean, the Colts, right now are 7-5. The Bengals, they win this game. I mean, they got a shot. They got a shot at the postseason, even with Jake Browning at quarterback. Because they got the Colts and they got the Vikings, at the Steelers, at the Chiefs, home against the Browns. There's tough games on their schedule, but if you got all your weapons back, on offense, that helps out Jake Browning a lot. Getting T. Higgins back is huge. I feel like they can. I feel like the Bengals can pull off the upset here. Colts, I think, are due for a loss, but we'll see. And give the Colts credit. They've been a great story so far this year. And they could find their way into the playoffs with Gardner Minshew. So, but again, I just find it very fishy how this line with the Jets and the Texans, it went down to 3.5. Because now Zach Wilson's back at quarterback. But it's in the rain. I don't know. I don't know. And listen, C.J. Stroud, he's been playing really well. So, maybe the Jets, make him look like a rookie quarterback, force him into turning the ball over. I don't know. For me, it's just the Jets struggle to score points. I can't do it. I might change it, but I'm gonna stick with not taking them. Because you know what? Honestly, if it wasn't for picking the Jets and the Saints a lot, I'd be in a much better spot right now. I really would. Because those are two teams that I would pick like every week, and every week they just continue to let me down. I have more confidence. The Saints offense, like, they could score points. The Jets can't. But I'm banking on the Jets defense keeping games close so they cover. But it just doesn't happen. Like, it was tough with the 2.5. It did get off to a good start with the safety. So I thought, okay, maybe the Jets, at least cover. But no, it did not happen, unfortunately. So I think I might just leave it. But you know what's going to happen? Sunday's going to come around, and the Jets are only going to lose by, 4 points. And I'm going to say, yep, that was another game that I should have switched. But I can't do it. I don't know. It's the weather's going to be bad, it looks like. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Going to have to, take it up till Sunday to, maybe change it. But I don't know. Hopefully the slate's good. Not very enticing, but the later slate is. We will preview. Obviously we did the Cowboys and the Eagles already, but we will preview the other games from the afternoon slate when we come back from our final break. Again, we're gonna have another version of Mahomes versus Allen, which is gonna be exciting. And the other games are decent, I would say. Definitely better than the early window. So, but that is what we will do when we come back from our final break of the show. So, that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the final part of the show, we are now going to preview the rest of the late window games here. So we got 4 afternoon games. Obviously, we talked about the Sunday night game already. So we'll get into the other games. So we'll start off with the Raiders and the Vikings. So interesting when it comes to this game because the Vikings, they were talking about how they were going to evaluate the quarterback position during their bye week because Josh Dobbs came off of a performance that was terrible, 4 interceptions against the Bears a couple weeks ago. I would imagine that he is going to start this game. They're getting Justin Jefferson back, which is huge. So to kind of compare the two teams, the Raiders and the Vikings. So the Vikings are 5th in passing yards per game. Again, was helped by Kirk Cousins. The Raiders are 21st. On rushing, Vikings are 28th. Raiders are 31st, which is very surprising because of Josh Jacobs and the season he had last year and how they just, I don't know what's been going on this year. Then in terms of points per game, Vikings are 15th. The Raiders are 27th. And then on defense, Raiders defense is 12th against the pass. Vikings are 19th. Rushing yards per game against the run. The Vikings defense is 7th. Raiders are 25th. But the Vikings really don't run the ball well, so I don't think that really matters. But we'll see. Points allowed, Vikings are 8th. And the Raiders are 16th. Raiders are 3-point underdogs at home. I think I'm going to take the points here. I don't feel great about it. But, the way, Josh Dobbs performed a couple weeks ago, and actually against the Broncos too on the road, it hasn't been great. So, getting Justin Jefferson back is huge. I think the Raiders, at least cover the number. I'm at least going to take them to cover the number just because I don't feel great about the Vikings recently. But, we'll see what happens. But, yeah, I think it'll be a close game, and hopefully the Raiders cover. Then we got the Seahawks and the Niners. So these two teams met a couple weeks ago on Thanksgiving. The Niners winning 31-13. Seahawks were, 7-point underdogs in the game. I think it opened up at 6, but then it went to 7, I believe. Now they're 11-point underdogs in San Francisco. When you look at you compare the stats of the teams, the Niners are 8th in passing yards per game. Seahawks are 14th. Niners are 5th in rushing. Seahawks are 27th. Niners are 3rd in points per game. Seahawks are 14th. Then on defense, the Niners are 16th against the pass. The Seahawks are 25th. Against the run, the Niners are number 1 in the NFL right now. And the Seahawks are 22nd. And then points allowed, Niners are 2nd. Seahawks are 25th. So, it's a divisional game, but I think the Niners are going to continue their dominance over Seattle. I think they cover this number. It's a big number. The Seahawks could put up points, but, the Niners are rolling right now, and I think that's going to continue in this game. So I like the Niners to win and cover this number. So now we go to the Bills and... Actually, no, we'll wait. We'll go to the other game first before we get to that. Broncos and Chargers. So Chargers coming off of a 6-0 win over the Patriots. Yes, 6-0 against the Patriots on Sunday. I've talked about that already, but, it's just crazy that was the final score. Broncos coming in at 6-6, coming off of a tough loss against the Texans. Russell Wilson threw up that, pass to Adam Troutman, but it got picked off in the end zone. They had a chance to win the game, but, it just, it didn't happen. The Broncos' losing streak got snapped. So they're 6-6. Chargers are 5-7. Broncos are 2.5-point underdogs in this game. Comparing the stats of the two teams, Chargers are 12th in passing yards per game. Broncos are 29th. The Broncos are 12th in rushing yards per game. The Chargers are 25th. And then points per game, Chargers are 11th, and the Broncos are 15th. And then on the defensive side of the ball, Broncos are 24th against the pass. Chargers defense is 32nd, rushing yards per game. The Broncos are 32nd against the run, and Chargers are 17th. And then points allowed, Chargers are 19th, Broncos are 29th. But the Broncos defense has been playing better. The Chargers offense has kind of been, the last couple games has been struggling a little bit. Only putting up 6 points against the Patriots, and then, only putting up 10 against the Ravens. So, I think they're going to put up points here against the Broncos. Broncos are going to have to score. They during their winning streak, they kept it close, and they really weren't playing from behind. But here, last week against the Texans, they were playing from behind, and they couldn't come back. So, we'll see, how this game plays out. I do like the Broncos in this game. I think they're the better team. They got the better coach. But again, it's going to be a close game. So, and I'm not good at picking 2.5-point games. But I take the Broncos just because I, trust them more than I do the Chargers. So, I will take the Broncos in this game to win. But this is an important game for the Chargers because, if they want to make a run here, they got to basically win every game. And, right now I kind of favor the Broncos over them. So then we get into the Bills and the Chiefs now. So, obviously, whenever these teams play against each other, there's going to be a lot of drama in it. The last two matchups, obviously the playoff game, and then last year, the Bills had their comeback win against the Chiefs. Right now it's a little different because the Bills are on the outside looking in. The Chiefs are 8-4. They've been struggling. To compare the two teams, they're both top 10 in passing yards per game. The Bills are 6th. Chiefs are 9th. Rushing yards per game, the Bills are 10th. And the Chiefs are 16th. Points per game, the Bills are 5th. And the Chiefs are 11th. And on the defensive side of the ball, the Bills are 10th against the pass. Chiefs are 5th. Rushing yards, the Bills are 20th. The Chiefs are 19th. And then points allowed, they're both top 5. The Chiefs' defense is 3rd. Bills' defense is 5th. Right now the line, it opened up at 3, and since then it's dropped down to 1.5. I'm taking the Bills here. I think regular season, the Chiefs are struggling right now. The Bills, this is a very important game for them if they want to have any shot at making the postseason. They need to win games, and I think here, they get back on the right track. They win here. It's going to be a tough game. I mean, I could see it going either way. But the way the Chiefs' offense has been struggling, and, the Bills, they played the Chiefs so many times. They're used to playing against them, and especially here. Again, regular season matchup. So I like the Bills to win a close game here. In this game, actually, there's going to be nice weather. So I think it'll be one of the best games of the weekend. I just don't really feel confident in picking the Chiefs right now. So, I took the Packers on Sunday night, and that turned out well for me. So, yeah, I'm gonna take the Bills here. So, to kind of run through my picks, at least for the Sunday matchups. So right now I got the Bucs, taking the points there against the Falcons. Then I got the Rams, not the Rams, the Ravens covering the 7.5 against the Rams. Lions covering the 3 against the Bears. Bengals winning and covering against the Colts. Browns winning and covering against the Jaguars. The Panthers covering the spread against the Saints. The Texans winning and covering the spread against the Jets. The Raiders, the home underdog, taking them in the points at home. Niners covering the spread against the Seahawks. Taking the points with the Bills, taking the points with the Broncos, and taking the points with the Eagles. So, yeah, I did take some of the favorites more so than the underdogs, but I took the Patriots with the points last night. So, because I know if you take, obviously you take all the favorites, you're not going to win all of them. But it's tough. This is another week that's tough. You just don't know. And obviously again, there's not a lot of time to make up ground. So I got to do what I can to get myself in a good position and get myself back in this because like I said, the top 4 is in mind is what gets you prizes. But again, I still haven't won a week. I'm trying to win a week. I did win. I did finish in the top 4 last year in my spread pool, and in the bigger one, and I've never done that. And that was without winning a week. I never won a week, but I was consistent all year. I mean, I've kind of been consistent this year. It's just I get 7 or 8. There's been those weeks where I got 9 and 12, but I haven't had those in a while. I get 12. I get 12 out of nowhere, and then and then there was 2 weeks where I got 5. So just got to hope that this week is different. I don't know. We'll have to see. Hopefully this week is better, and I can make a run here. There's still some time, but you really gotta. This is where you really gotta nail these picks, because if you don't, then you really don't got a shot. But like I said, mine extends into the postseason, so there are still some games, to pick. But if I'm not close to the top, there's really no point. I'm still gonna do them, just to do them, but we'll just have to wait and see. But, so that's pretty much it with the show for today. However, we got another show to do in a little over a half hour. The GSMC Baseball Podcast will be live streaming at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, so make sure to tune in for that. There's some stuff to talk about regarding my team, actually. That'll be the main topic on the show today, as the Yankees acquired Juan Soto in a deal with the Padres, so we're going to go into that. Really pumped up that the Yankees did that. So that'll be the main topic of the show. We'll get into some other stuff as well, some other signings and things like that. We're still waiting on what Shohei Ohtani is going to do, where he's going to sign. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, where is he going to sign? Cody Bellinger. Maybe any big trades that could go down other than Juan Soto. But yeah, we got something huge to talk about on the show. So, make sure to tune in for that. I'll give you my thoughts on that. Obviously, if you don't like the Yankees, then, you're probably not too thrilled. But, for me, I'm excited, and obviously, I'll get into it more in a half hour. But it's something that, had to be done. And they did that. And I'm really excited. So make sure to tune in for that. I'm going to get yesterday's show reposted up on YouTube into the 4 parts today. So, obviously the live stream is up, but, that'll be reposted. Look out for the shorts that'll be coming out today as well throughout the day. But yeah, make sure to tune in for the baseball podcast, because we actually we got some big stuff to talk about, and the implications of Juan Soto now being in the American League East. But there could be another big player going to the American League East as well. So we'll talk about that during the show as well. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to talking about it, because it's a doubleheader today for me. So I got to get my points across, and talk about what happened. With Yankees getting Soto now. So, yeah. But other than that, that is all the time that we have for today. I thank you guys for watching. Like I said, make sure to look out for the shorts that are coming out later today. Also, yesterday's show, broken down into the 4 parts. Look out for that. Make sure to tune in for the GSMC Baseball Podcast at 12:30. So, with that, as always, I'm your host, Kenneth Gruenfelder, signing off from the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I will see you guys in a half hour. If not, have a good weekend. Enjoy the games, and I will see you next time or in a half hour. Take care.